So any what we consider a third world country that you can still innovate and do the things that you would do in the United States, perfect. Or if you can take your ideas there, because anywhere you go, if you live in the neighborhood so long, you start to become stagnant and you can't think or picture outside of that because things are always as it's been. When you go somewhere else, like I'm sure you've been in Bogota and you say, man, I know I can do that different. Your ideas start to go. You start to do something and think a little different. So any third world country, if you can bring your own dollars, you can vastly change your status and the next status. It's going to be difficult in the Western culture just because of income.
So if somebody really wants to solidify their, last time we talked about getting residencies and dual citizenships, and we briefly touched on renouncing citizenships. What is both of y'all's opinion on renouncing citizenship?
You really want me to say that up there?
You're gonna, go ahead, Todd. I'm gonna let you go. I want to know what your opinion is.
I think that, like nomad capitalists, you go where you feel appreciated. Now, if you want to leave the U.S., there's an exit tax, right? So understand that.
And wasn't that from the guy from Facebook? He started that. He went to Singapore. He said, "I'm out. I ain't paying these taxes."
Yeah,
and they changed the law that said before you can bring your money, you got to pay us.
Yeah,
you got to pay us.
I mean, spell the IRS, THEIRS, theirs.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you're a 14th Amendment citizen, you're theirs, right? The IRS is the largest tax collection agency, is the largest collection agency on the planet. But if you want to leave, you got to pay an exit tax. I mean, it's monopoly, right? It is monopoly, the real deal monopoly. So, I just like the digital or the nomad capitalist. I think that the best strategy is that you go where you feel appreciated. And there are countries in Africa that are that if you can prove that your ancestry is from there, you can actually get citizenship. I think that you have to take a look at the global landscape where you can find currency arbitrage, but also understand that when you go one place, it doesn't mean it's always going to be that. I mean, countries rise and fall. Right. At one point, Great Britain had the currency of the Great Britain was the reserve currency of the world. Now it's the U.S. And as of 2 weeks ago, Saudi Arabia said we're no longer going to accept U.S. dollars as the only payment for oil. And so what does that mean long term for the U.S. dollar? Long term for the U.S. dollar, since it's no longer going to be the reserve currency, is that inflation is going to go up and the value of the dollar is going to depreciate. So people want to put their head in the dirt or their head under the cover or whatever, and not realize that our country, the economics are not the choices, but the finances of the country are going to change. And in order to thrive and have the lifestyle that you want, you have to have that mobility to be able to do that. And you also have to have the mindset, right, and the courage to make a change when it warrants it.
Let me ask you, Austin, what is your American dream?
I don't think I have one.
I mean, even if in America, you say, what is your American dream in Brazil?
I guess we could call that a dream life. Because when I was in America, I don't even think I had an American dream. I just always wanted to do well, and I didn't want to have to worry about finances. But you had to check back with me on that question in 5 years. Okay. I don't know right now. I'm jumping around the world too much to have the answer to that, because every country is different with their abilities and what you could do there.
So do you think, in a sense, your American dream would just to be like have financial independence?
Financial independence,
more free time, the ability to, I'm going to use, instead of the work-life balance, a life-work balance.
Okay.
And that may be
a great work-life balance right now.
Okay. So that may be the American dream, I think, for a lot of people, to be able to say, I want to do what I love, and I want the ability to do it while I'm younger. I hate to go on vacation. I see them old guys. It's like their first vacation. I've been on cruises, and it's like, it's my first vacation. I'm like, bro, man, we better not leave you alone too long, because you might not make it. And they don't get a chance to do the excursions and everything that you would have when you were a younger fella. And so I think that is the transition to the American dream, to say, my American dream now is to not be loyal to a company, to be loyal to myself, to live my life, to use the technology and things around me to innovate. I don't have to wait until I am 30, 40, 50 years old to make a good income. I can invent something today or do something today that will allow me to do the income. So I think that's now the American dream, to say, I want to see the world. I want to be able to do this on a whim. I'm not tied down to a location. I'm not tied down to an address, a state, or even a country.
Yeah.
So do you think that it's net? Because somebody in the chat said that there was no point in renouncing U.S. citizenship. What reason would you feel that would be necessary to do?
Can you? I put something in the back chat. Can you go to that page for me?
Okay.
Because people want receipts.
Felipe Lindsay, if you want me to buy assets, send me the Cash App. I'll buy it if it's that easy.
So if you can share that link that I showed, it's definition. This is a legal definition. All right. All right. So go down. So a legal definition. Article number 15. Go down to 15 for me. Okay. Says United States means what? A federal corporation, an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States, or an instrumentality of the United States. United States means what? A federal corporation. Now, this is not my definition. This is a legal definition according to Cornell Law School, right? So we're talking about a country and we're talking about exit strategies and things like that. What do companies and corporations do? They sell goods, services, and products.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to pay taxes, sales tax, income tax, or what have you. So the state of Texas, does it or does it not have its own constitution?
It does.
In the state of Texas, are there some things that you can and cannot do based upon their constitution?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Why? Because in the past, it was its own nation.
Mm-hmm.
And so different states have different laws as to what you can and cannot do. For example, the state of Nevada has secrecy laws that if you set up a corporation in the state of Nevada, you don't have to report certain things. So when we're talking about mobility, you don't have to leave the corporate United States. You can just change states. And so, you know, if we're talking about leaving, quote, the United States, leaving the federal corporation, that's one thing. If you're talking about going to another country or going to another entity, that's something totally different. But moving from one state, let's say you move from Ohio to Texas, a lot of people are doing it. People are moving from California in droves, right? And they're entering Texas. Why? Because of the different laws of the state. So if we're talking about, quote unquote, the American dream, let's even just say, let's not talk about going international, but let's even just talk about going intercontinental. That is a form of movement as well. Wealthy people, if they don't like something, they move. If they don't like the politics of one place, they have the resources to move somewhere else. If I don't like the politics of the general corporation called the United States at the federal level, you have the ability to move. However, you have to have what? A passport. And that passport is controlled by that federal corporation. So there's a lot of choices and decisions, a lot of economics that go into making these choices and decisions. And it's not just a one size fits all. But again, I'm not being paid by Nomad Capitalists. And if he's listening, I would love to interview him on my show. But I agree with what he says. You've got to go where you feel appreciated.
So I don't think I got the answer from either one of y'all, though. Would you ever renounce U.S. citizenship?
I would not. Because
Why?
still, to me, for all of its bad things and all the things we do, to me, United States is still the greatest country in the world. And it offers me the best opportunity. I could not have made the amount of money with the opportunities just starting out that I think I could have made if I grew up in DR, if I grew up in Brazil. So I appreciate the fact that I can do certain things and I can go places, that my passport gets me almost anywhere. Would I like to have a secondary passport? Of course, because, you know, that is always a great asset. But as they say, when the United States sneezes, the rest of the world catches a flu. So I'd rather be with the sneeze than pneumonia. So there's certain things that I enjoy about this country. The difference is, if you poor, oh, this ain't the country for you. Politics ain't made for you. Tax brackets not made for you. It's designed to keep you down. If you make money, this place is much better for you. That's why Warren Buffett, like, brother, I don't even get an income. I pay on dividends. I don't pay the same tax rate that you pay. So it's different based on your economic level and your education level. Your life can be totally different. As you said before, man, I'm used to I can call up Amazon right now. It's 5 o'clock and I can have my delivery on something I bought today, if not by early this morning. Anything. You might not be able to do that where you at. That convenience is great. I like the fact that I can get something for entirely cheaper. Not that I eat McDonald's, but shit, them places still got a 99-cent menu if I get poor.
But you do plan to live abroad at some point, correct?
Correct. But I would still have the ability. It's always the ability to go back if necessary.
I'm not going
to. I don't want to come back. He ain't coming back.
I don't want. Let me put it this way. If I had all of the money that I'm planning on making, if I had it right now, would I leave? Would I pay the tax and leave? I probably would. Because time is not something that we can control. And we only go through this existence once.
Mm-hmm.
And so with a lot of the changes that are taking place, not just in the US, but around the world, I'd like to be able to have the option, the opportunity to move somewhere else if that country or that place where I'm living does not maintain the values that I have.
But you can still do that with your passport. You just didn't renounce it. So for instance,
No. I mean, if you renounce, you no longer have that US passport.
Correct. So like Andre didn't renounce. He's just becoming a Colombian citizen. So he'll have dual citizenship.
Yeah, correct.
And like he was saying, he said, I don't think his taxes start until like 120. So his first 120 overseas is tax free.
Correct.
So he's not paying taxes on that. And then anything over, he can still write stuff off. So he's in a much better position. That's why I was saying his 100,000 is a lot different than my 100,000.
Absolutely. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you look at the citizenship of most millionaires or billionaires in the United States, they do have dual citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one that decided that they wanted to leave completely.
Yeah.
Right. So I would decide. Let me answer it this way. Let me back up. Let me answer it this way. I would like to have the income necessary to at least have the question posed and make that decision.
I agree.
So
okay,
that's a backwards way of answering your question. I know.
Well, so you're willing to hold on to being taxed around the world for the opportunity to go back, because that's a forever liability that you'll have with the country.
Well, here's the thing: if I'm a business, I'm taxed differently than if I'm an individual.
Correct.
And the difference is that if you have a business, the business has an EIN number. And the EIN number and the credit available for an EIN number is different than a social security number. So if you're really if you really want to get down to it, if a person wants to leave the US, all they really have to do is be in a position not to use their social security number.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I never use my social. I never have.
And so if you accept services from a particular place, that's when you're required to pay taxes. But if your business is overseas or what have you, I mean, it's a complicated, it sounds like a simple question, but it's really complicated because again, if you're a 14th Amendment citizen, there's a whole lot of federal legalities and treaties and all this kind of stuff that we are just not taught. It used to be our education system taught us law, but then they say, well, ignorance of the law is no excuse, but yet they don't teach us